Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. It is spooky season. This is 100 Acre Swamp. My name is Ben. That is John, and we are here to talk about the new movie from Blumhouse, the third in the Blumhouse Halloween trilogy, Halloween Ends, which we finished watching about 2.5 minutes ago. Isn't that right, John?
That's right, Ben.
And
It's finished. It
it's
ended.
it's finished. It's ended. The Blumhouse trilogy of Halloween movies has ended. And so endeth Michael Myers. Now, it says it in the title, but we will just reiterate there will be spoilers for this movie in this discussion. And I've got a lot to say. John, let's start with you.
Yeah,
What did you think of Halloween Ends?
I think I was quite faithful to the original at the start, and that it took ages to get going.
It really did take ages to get going, yeah. I'm going to use three words to describe how this film has made me feel. It has pissed me off.
Really? Actually, I found once it started, it went along at a fair pace. It was actually all right.
I'm okay, so let's get into it because we look at the way this film was marketed. I don't know if you saw many of the trailers or
Oh,
anything. It was marketed as the final battle between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, and that does happen at the
mhm,
very end of the movie.
mhm.
And so
Well,
this,
you wouldn't expect it to be anywhere else.
no, you wouldn't, but also you wouldn't expect them. And this is very ballsy what Blumhouse have done here to introduce a brand new character that nobody's ever heard of, named Corey, and have him as your main antagonist, and have Michael Myers as a feeble old man living in a sewer.
Mm.
If you're a fan of Michael Myers, I would say he gets less than 4 minutes of screen time in this movie. And that's why I'm really pissed off, because this is not how this movie was marketed to us. It was marketed to us as a big, grand, ending to this trilogy. And I'm going to say something else. I'm going to say that I don't think that this is the movie that they intended to make, because when they first announced this trilogy, Halloween 2019, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends, all three movies were meant to be set on the same night. Now, they started that with Halloween and Halloween Kills, and then the alleged pandemic happened and things changed dramatically because there's been a 4 year time jump in this movie, hasn't there, John?
Yeah, yeah, there has. Although I did, I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was quite good the way they made Corey Michael Myers.
And they really did make Corey Michael Myers. Like, literally, he ended up fighting Michael Myers and beating him in a fight to steal his bloody mask.
Yeah, and I mean, I mean, he just went and whooped his ass and walked out with a mask. Um, it's and he started from very humble beginnings because he was quite a put upon young man,
He was. So the
a bit of a
film's
weed.
the film starts on, I believe, Halloween night 2019, and Corey is babysitting a young boy, and he's the family's gardener, and they've called him in to babysit whilst they go off to a Halloween party. It's a very tension building scene, but me and you called exactly what was going to happen from word go,
Yeah,
didn't we?
yeah.
The young kid started playing a prank on him, and it's a very large house with a very grand spiral staircase over several floors. The kid locked Corey in a cupboard, and Corey,
At the top of the
at
stairs.
the top of the stairs, Corey started kicking the door, and the door crashed the kid in the head, and then the kid went over the banister, dead kid. And so
Eh.
this is this
And
film.
so it begins.
Well, yeah, and you know what? You need to separate this film from the lore of Halloween. You need to separate this film from the idea of Michael Myers, I think, to enjoy it, because for what it is, I thought it was kind of brilliant. And go with me here. I It's a character study, or it's a case study on how you can drive somebody to
Yeah,
commit evil.
yeah.
And the question lays in the air because there was a little bit of a supernatural element in this movie. Because it would appear that Michael Myers has been killing people in the sewers for 4 years, building pillars of bodies by the looks of it. I wanted to see that movie. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
but every time Michael Myers kills somebody, he gains strength. He gets stronger. But they sort of imply, and I don't know if you got this implication as well, that when Corey confronts Michael Myers for the first time in the sewers, he looks into his eyes. Michael Myers somehow sees everything that happened and becomes sympathetic to him.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a kinship,
Yeah,
a bond, a
yeah,
crossover.
because remember, Michael Myers first killed his family when he was a child.
Yeah.
But the implication is he transferred his evil through the eyes. I thought.
Yeah, it's a bit hit and miss, but yeah, it was okay. I mean, I quite enjoyed it as far as the movie goes.
Now, see, once again, when you separate it from the Halloween franchise, I thought it was kind of brilliant because on the other foot, Corey is now called a freak, a psycho, things like that. He is bullied left, right, and centre for what he did. Obviously, he didn't go to prison because it was an accident. And you're left wondering, did that drive him to become a crazed killer, or was it this supernatural element? And in that respect, like I say, I think it was brilliant because not many films, not many movies, especially in this day and age, would actually dare to go there, I would say. And I do want to watch it again, even though it's pissed me off, and it has pissed me off because of
I
how
tell
it was
you,
marketed to me.
I tell you who I find the most disappointing. Jamie
Okay.
Lee Curtis.
Well, I was actually going to get onto her because Jamie Lee Curtis obviously returns as Laurie Strode and has a lot more to do in this movie than she did in Halloween Kills. Um, but she was, I think, underutilized, utilized wrong. What pissed you off about Jamie Lee Curtis?
Complete change of character.
I mean, when you look at her character in Halloween 2019, she's a psychotic recluse essentially. She's built a house, she's built a trap for Michael Myers, and she does trap him and set the house on fire with him inside. But obviously, that doesn't get him. Uh, but you're absolutely right. It's been an absolute 180 in her character. She's now a confident housewife essentially, but
Yeah.
no husband, but looking after her granddaughter Allison. And the motivations of Allison in this movie confused me. She's basically I want to get I want to get that psycho pee. That's essentially her character. Her entire motivation is what's between her legs, and that didn't really make any sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a bit mishmash together, but as a piece of entertainment, I think it worked.
Yeah, I mean, it comes in at 2 hours, and I wanna before we start wrapping this up, I wanna touch on the ending of this movie. So Corey essentially tries to kill himself after failing to kill Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie Strode, and Michael Myers returns. He's in the house now, and he gets his mask back, and then goes to have the final showdown, the final battle with Laurie Strode. And you know what? I was I was happy with it. I was happy with what was put on screen with that. She essentially crucified him. It was great. And they didn't shy away from the practical effects. They didn't shy away from the gore. Uh, but then at the very beginning of this movie, they kept zooming in on a metal shredder, didn't they, John?
They did tell. I mean, every weapon that was used was telegraphed well in advance. Even when the high school kid get given the rifle, stay inside. Here's the rifle. It's loaded. Stay inside.
Yeah.
Everything was telegraphed. The chain link fence. I'll shut these gates and padlock them. Everything was so telegraphed. It was unbelievable. I mean, you just knew exactly how the next person was going to die.
Yeah, you did. But the kills were beautiful. I will say that. Some of them were very inventive.
Although the one thing that I hadn't picked up on was the use of oxyacetylene at one point.
Go for it.
You remember when when he blowtorched the guy. Yeah,
Mm.
I didn't see that one coming.
No, I thought that was great. That was the one I was going to touch on. I like I say, I think some of the kills were very inventive. Practical effects for the most part were great. This is Blumhouse, so don't expect anything fancy and over the top because Blumhouse do low budget. They do. They get licenses, they get rights, and they're a very good horror house. I would say.
Well,
Jason Blum is great.
yeah, I thought. I mean, most of the effects I think were practical effects. They weren't.
Oh
They
yeah.
weren't VFX, which is like it's good to see.
It is good to see in this day and age because I think making everything CGI just suspends your disbelief. It it it's lazy. It's
Well, actually, I think making everything CGI doesn't suspend your disbelief. That's the
okay.
problem. It makes things. It makes you believe that it's not there.
Yeah,
If you know what I mean.
yeah, and like you said, most of the kills in this flick were practical effects. They were great, by the way.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth a watch, but it's just so slow burning in the middle. The beginning's really good, the end is fantastic, but it's just so slow burning in the middle.
It's possibly just a tad too long.
I think so, at just over 2 hours, wasn't it?
No, I think it was just under. It was about 1 hour 50 or something, but I think you could have probably taken about 10 minutes out of it.
Yeah. But like I said, as Michael Myers ending to a trilogy, it pissed me off. But for what it is, and if you take that away, did you ever see Halloween 3 Season of the Witch?
No.
So Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, what they intended, what John Carpenter intended to originally do with Halloween was make it anthology. So Michael Myers wasn't meant to be the only villain, right? So it's meant to be an anthology series, loads of different monsters or killers, slashers, whatever. And they tried it with Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. It was a massive swing, it was a massive miss. It didn't work. So they returned to Michael Myers. Of course, they returned to Michael Myers because he is one of the most iconic horror movie villains in history.
Yeah.
But this appears to me to be exactly that. They've tried it again. They've even, from what I understand, the text that says Halloween ends at the beginning is the same font and color used on Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. This is what I think Blumhouse have tried to do. And as a Halloween movie, I think they've taken a swing they've missed. But as a case study into psychology, into whether or not you can drive somebody to be evil, I think they've swung and they've hit. So
Yeah.
you need to separate the two. I'm going to give it, let's say we rate this film out of 5. Okay? I'm going to give it a 3.5. And purely for what we did get with the Michael Myers and Laurie stuff, it was very, very satisfying. The practical effects were great. And let's touch on the end for a minute. They tied Michael Myers after they killed him to the top of a car. They called all of Haddonfield out to come with them. They had a giant, quote unquote, funeral procession.
Yeah.
And then they chucked him in that metal shredder and grinded his body to dust. And
Indeed.
that was quite satisfying for me. But as we all know, a franchise that makes money like this, it doesn't end. So,
No.
whilst Blumhouse may not make any more Halloween movies, there will be more. There absolutely will be more. Maybe 5 years' time, it will get rebooted again. Will we see the shape of Michael Myers? I think they'll just start a new timeline, and we will. So yeah, I would say 3.5 stars. I do want to watch it again, which is interesting. And that's all I really have to say about it. I'll kick that one over to you, John. Out of 5.
I'd give it 3.5. I've no great desperation to see it again though. It was fine. You know, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I wouldn't rush out and see it again.
Well, okay, fair enough. And I think that's all we really have
Well,
to say about that.
you know what I'd like to touch on? I'd like to touch on all this nonsense that's been going on about House of the Dragon being too dark.
I'm really enjoying House of the Dragon.
No, and I mean when I say being too dark, I mean the lighting being too dark. I thought it was fine.
Mm,
I don't know what these guys are watching it on. I mean, I thought it was absolutely fine. I enjoyed it. I think the lighting was appropriate. Maybe they're just used to stuff being too Disney-esque. You know?
maybe, maybe, and I mean, if you want a dark flick, watch Halloween Ends because oof, that
Yeah, it's dark as well. Yeah.
it's barely lit at all. But like I said, as a Halloween movie, a swing and a miss. As a horror movie and a case study into the psychological aspects of turning somebody evil, a swing and a hit. But
Yeah.
you let us know in the comments, what do you think? Have you seen Halloween Ends? Do you think it's any good? Let us know, and we are going to get out of here. So I would like to thank you all. If you have watched this, if either live or not, then I would like to thank you all for listening to our little conversation here, and we would very much enjoy listening to and hearing your thoughts on